What's up? It's me. Welcome back to another video. And today I will be counting down the top 7 places to hide during World War III. So let us get into it. Starting off in our No. 7 spot, we have bunkers. Okay. I know this one seems obvious, but there's actually more to it than meets the eye. There's 2 kinds of bunkers: government-made bunkers and privately owned bunkers. First, we have the government-made bunkers that are built for civilians to hide in when disasters strike. The problem with these is that they not exactly meant to keep you safe during a nuclear attack or a large-scale war. For example, a lot of them do and have enough food and water supplies to sustain you for a long period of time. A good majority of them also do and have enough space to hold all of the people that they were originally built for, meaning if there's an influx of people trying to cram themselves into one of these shelters, things could get really nasty really fast. Then you have the privately owned bunkers, which seem like the best option, right? Well, some of them can be pretty legit, usually have more food and water supplies, and can last for longer periods of time than the government-made bunkers. However, these bunkers can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to build and even more to live in. So if you don't have the money to spare, you're out of luck, because when disaster strikes and these bunkers start filling up, no one's going to be coming to save you. If you do happen to have the money, though, to live in one of these bunkers, then you might just survive World War III. Moving on at No. 6, we have Alaska. Now, before I explain why Alaska is a great place to hide during World War III, I want you guys to subscribe to my new channel, War Chronicle. This channel will be posting regular videos about wars and conflicts around the world, past and present, so make sure to go ahead and subscribe. But without further ado, let's get back to Alaska. You see, during World War II, Alaska was bombed by Japan, and it was one of the only parts of the United States hit during the entire war. Though it wasn't very heavily populated at the time, today it's a completely different story. In recent years, Alaska has become much more populated, and because of its remoteness from the rest of the U.S., it's unlikely that it would be hit in a future war, unless, of course, Russia decides to get involved. It's also worth noting that Alaska is a very desolate state. If you were to bug out into the wilderness, you'd most likely be able to find shelter in one of the many caves located throughout the state. Just be careful of bears. Next up at No. 5, we have farms. And look, I know what you're thinking. How exactly does one survive on a farm during World War III? Well, as long as you have sufficient food and water supplies, you should be okay. Farms are far away from densely populated areas, so it's unlikely that they'll be hit during World War III. Plus, if your farm has livestock on it, you'll always have a source of fresh meat. As long as you don't run out of ammo and are able to defend yourself against raiders, that is... Oh, and also, if you're planning on hiding on a farm during World War III, make sure you know how to actually farm. Otherwise, you won't have any food to eat. Moving along at No. 4, we have Montana. If you've ever played Fallout, then you probably already know that Montana is a great place to hide during nuclear war. The state of Montana is quite literally in the center of the United States, which makes it very unlikely that it'll be hit by incoming missiles during World War III. Plus, the weather in Montana is nearly as harsh as it is in other parts of the United States. Sure, it gets cold during the winter months, but it doesn't snow nearly as much as places like Minnesota or North Dakota, meaning that you're more likely to survive the winter if you're in Montana. You're also surrounded by national parks, which means there's plenty of places to bug out to if things get too hairy. Just beware of bears. Next up at No. 3, we have the oceans. Yeah, I know, weird one, but hear me out. Look, if you have a boat, then the ocean might be a viable option for you. If you're planning on surviving World War III on the ocean, though, you need to have a boat big enough to store enough food, water, and ammo to sustain you for as long as possible. You're also gone. Need some sort of defense mechanism on your boat in case you get attacked by pirates or, the military. Even if you do have a boat that's fully equipped to survive World War III on, I wouldn't recommend going out into the ocean, because there is a high possibility that nuclear fallout could render the ocean water. It's undrinkable for months or even years. Plus, who's to say that submarines won't be sinking ships on the ocean during World War III? It's just not worth the risk. Moving on to our runner-up spot, we have Utah. Similar to Montana, Utah is another landlocked state, which makes it very unlikely that it will be hit during World War III. Also similar to Montana, Utah is very sparsely populated, meaning that there's plenty of room to bug out to if things get hairy. On top of that, Utah is known as the Beehive State because during pioneer days, Mormon settlers would work together to build their communities. So it's likely that the residents of Utah will come together and help each other out during tough times. Now, while Utah is a great place to hide during World War III, I wouldn't recommend hiding in Salt Lake City. The reason being is that it's the main city in Utah, meaning that it's the most likely place to be attacked. Instead, I'd recommend heading up north to places like Lava Hot Springs or Blackfoot, Idaho. Before we get into our one spot, I want to give a huge shout out to our top 3 most recent supporters. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. It really helps me out a lot. Now let's move on to our one spot and no one. We have Greenland. Now Greenland is an autonomous Danish territory, but it's very far away from any major civilization, which makes it very unlikely that it'll be hit during World War III. On top of that, Greenland is covered in ice, so it's unlikely that a large-scale war will break out there. It's also worth noting that Greenland is a very remote place, so even if a war does break out there, you'd most likely be able to avoid it by simply heading further inland. Not only that, but Greenland has a lot of natural resources, including water, meat, and vegetation. Sure, you might have to worry about hypothermia if you don't have enough supplies to keep you warm, but other than that, you should be pretty much set. Now, before I end this video, I want to make it clear that this is just a fun video and that I hope World War III never happens, but it's always good to be prepared. And who knows, maybe you'll survive World War III and be able to tell everyone that you did. Thanks for watching. Alright, now let's move on to the end screen. Hey, are you still watching? Then you must really like content like this. Why not check out my other content? I post regularly about wars and conflicts around the world, both past and present. There's something for everyone. So make sure to go ahead and check it out. You can also check out my podcast, which I upload every single week. I discuss all sorts of topics, and it's just a great time. So make sure to go ahead and check that out too. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.